Hi everybody, welcome to Shivers. Every Monday we do a different online movie night on our Discord channel. So I thought it would be cool to start recapping some of those movies at the end of each month by rating them and doing reviews for them. So every month, really in terms of the movies that we choose, all do have themes. So, of course, for February, it's going to be all about Bloody Valentines. You'd be surprised that there are a lot more Bloody Valentines movies than what you might expect. You could think of really anything that's going to be that slasher, crazy woman, crazy man. Even the movie Obsessed by Beyonce, that can fall under that list. We didn't watch it, but it's out there. So, for February, we have watched Hellraiser from 1987, Fatal Attraction from 1987, Audition from 1999, and My Bloody Valentine from 2009. There is an earlier version of My Bloody Valentine, but I do have a love for the Jensen Ackles version, so we watched it. I do also put out a poll every month right before the month begins on Discord for everyone to vote on the movies for the month ahead. So top 2 movies that are picked from the poll are added to our list. So before I get into the reviews for the month ahead for March, this is all about March Madness. So it's all true crime, crazy mindset, psychological thriller, think those types of movies. So kind of put that in the back of your mind of what's to come for March. But back to February. So this is going to be the same sort of structure of the reviews for regular movies. A little bit of spoilers in the storytelling, but I'll tell you the Rotten Tomatoes reviews and my reviews as well, ratings at the end of the storyline. So I'll go in order of what we actually watched. We started the month of February out with Hellraiser, the original Hellraiser from 1987. This does have a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I would give it about a 3.8. I do like Hellraiser. Before I ever watched it for the first time, I expected to like it more than I do. So the idea behind Hellraiser is very love and lust, those types of conversations, anything that's going to be very focused on sins and what is deviant behavior, what is good behavior for a boy versus what is bad behavior for a girl. So a lot of gender stereotypes, a lot of questioning the norms. We have our main character whose name is Frank. He is kind of just a dickhead. Like, he's not nice. He has an affair with this woman who becomes our main character. And Julia, sorry, I was looking for her name. Julia. So he has an affair with Julia, who is married to his brother, and she becomes just absolutely obsessed with him and wants to find him, wants to figure out where he has gone. He's been missing for a little while, all to find out that he has decided to play with this trinket that he found. Don't touch things from antique shops. Don't touch thrifted items. This box opens a portal to hell where all of these creatures called the Cenobites come out, and they kind of like demand a soul. They demand flesh. And so Frank is now this weird, mushy, muscular person, but still alive, but halfway dead. And Julia finds him in the attic of this house where he's been sort of cocooned as he's coming back to life. And he decides to tell her, if you want to be with me and if you want me to come back to life, you have to get all of these sacrifices so these Cenobites will be able to give me my life back. She, of course, is manipulated by him because she's just so obsessed with him and head over heels with him. And so she does this, and she's just basically bringing these random men home. Her husband is none the wiser, and they're just being sacrificed to these Cenobites who are basically like, you can't cheat the system. Like, you open the box, you have to come. So the only time that anything actually starts to happen is when Julia's husband's daughter starts to come around, and that paints Julia in the perspective of just the evil stepmother. So again, with the stereotypes, with the archetypes, we're having those types of conversations. So I think, in my own personal opinion, I really don't like doing reviews of classic movies because This is what started a whole bunch of slasher films and classic horror. So I have to give appreciation where appreciation is due. I would have loved if this went more in the direction of truly crazy in love instead of manipulation through love and only see the truth by someone who's outside who sees you as kind of like a bad person. So I think that there's a lot of missed opportunity. There is a remake of Hellraiser on Hulu from 2022. I love the storyline of that one, but I think the execution of that one is really, really bad. And it has horrible reviews. So I wouldn't even go out of your way to watch it. But if you are looking for something that's going to be a little bit more classic in terms of crazy in love, manipulated, questions on who people are and why they are, it's a pretty decent choice. After Hellraiser, we watched My Bloody Valentine. This is from 2009, and this is one of my, I would say, guilty pleasure movies. I absolutely love this movie. I'm going to go ahead and just read the synopsis to you to set up this movie because it is a remake. So, 10 years ago, an inexperienced coal miner named Tom Hanniger caused an accident that killed 5 men and put a 6th, Harry Warden, into a coma. A year later, on Valentine's Day, Harry woke up and murdered 22 people with a pickaxe before he died. Now, Tom has returned home, still haunted by the past, and something else is in harmony. A pickaxe-wielding killer in a miner's mask, who may be the ghost of Harry, coming to claim Tom and his friends. So, Tom Hanniger is played by Jensen Ackles, who stars in Supernatural. So, again, I do have a little bit of love for Jensen Ackles. This movie has a 62% on Rotten Tomatoes. I would have expected it to be a little bit lower, honestly. Everybody in the Discord hated this movie. It's good. This came out when everything was very trendy for 3D. So there's a lot of really cheesy 3D things kind of put in there. But I really like My Bloody Valentine. I think it is equivalent to I Know What You Did Last Summer. It has the very same pacing. It has the same type of vibe. It has the same reveal. Spoiler alert, Tom is the one who is doing all of these killings. And he has this sort of psychological break that he's haunted by Harry because he has all this guilt of killing all these people by accident in the coal mine. I think anybody's going to have that type of guilt just on their shoulders. But for Tom, that it literally causes his psyche to break. So this could blend into March Madness, into our next month, but this all does happen on Valentine's Day. This is an actual really pointed part of the season. So I like My Bloody Valentine. From a technicality perspective, would give it a 3.2. It's not a good movie by any stretch, but it is one that is a guilty pleasure. It's kind of like eating ice cream. It's like, I can't have it all the time and I'll get really sick of it, but I enjoy it while I have it. So after My Bloody Valentine, we have Audition. A little bit of a whiplash of choices. This is from 1999 and this is in Japanese. So you do have to read it the whole time. I don't mind that because I am a person who has subtitles on because I'll just pause here for a moment. I used to watch This Is Us, that very sappy TV show on NBC. And there was one episode in particular where there's all this whispering in the background and I couldn't hear anything. And so I had to turn the subtitles on. I was very anti-subtitle before this. And it picked up on a whole conversation that I completely missed beforehand. So ever since then, I leave the subtitles on just for the simple fact of in case there's a background conversation that I can't hear. So with that being said, I didn't mind having to read Audition. One of the scariest movies I've ever watched is a movie called Atrocious, which is in Spanish. And as much as 4 years of Spanish in high school and college will get me, I don't understand an entire movie in Spanish. So that is the same sort of thing. I think it makes it that much scarier because you have to watch, you have to pay attention. You literally have to read along. So Audition is really aggressive. It is based on a book. It is in Japanese. It is set in Japan. And this has an 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. If I didn't already say this before, it's from 1999. This is all focusing on this really sad story and this really poor girl who, as a child, has been abused and mutilated by what we can only make the assumption to say is her father. So we don't find that background out from her until later on in the story. We start with this main character, man, who he lost his wife, and his son is just desperate for him. Like, you got to get back out there. You got to get dating again. I really want you to find love. So the father, being more of a businessman, says, I'm going to pretend that I'm going to create this theater and this movie about someone playing my spouse. So he actually auditions all of these women and chooses our main character, girl, to star in his movie. So already it's really gross and off to a not very tasteful start. And so as they're getting closer and closer, he's like, I actually start to have feelings for you, and so I want to give you the respect of telling you why I did this all in the first place. After he tells her that, everything goes batshit. We find out about her past, we find out about these men who have manipulated her, and this is really the straw that broke the camel's back. She, maybe, she has tortured all of these other men. She has one in particular in a bag in her room. So this does get into a really interesting conversation about fetishes and kinks, and kind of bringing that to the table and saying, when is that line blurred between ethics or unethical? When is the line blurred between human and pet? So this movie crosses a lot of boundaries, and it's also filmed in a way that makes it very convoluted to figure out exactly what's going on. I really don't mean this in a linear way, but it is kind of like watching Parasite. It's all of this build up for an ending that we know is coming, but we don't know the full thing for it. And I think that's what makes this really, really cool, because not only is it very aggressive in some of the torture scenes and some of the things that she does, but it's also very poignant in how do you treat people, and kind of similar to Hellraiser. Like, what are those dynamics in a regular basis, and do people fall under categories that they kind of are assumed to be? So, as ambiguous as that is, I would give Audition about a 3.8. I do really like the book. I think it's a phenomenal story. I don't really like the execution. I think it's a little bit too on the nose. I don't really think I have any other thoughts than that. Yeah, I mean, this is it's pretty aggressive. So if you are going to watch Audition, I would say you have to be a fan of gore. You have to be a fan of things that are pushing the limits. So, because you can't look away, because you have to read. So, our last movie for February was Fatal Attraction. This is also from 1987, I guess the year of the crazy lady. Kind of funny story about Fatal Attraction. This does star Glenn Close. She apparently, in her prime, looked exactly like my mother. And in 1987, my mom said when this movie came out, people were actively leaving her alone because, because she looked so much like Glenn Close. So Glenn Close does star as this is the epitome of crazy woman movie. This has 74% on Rotten Tomatoes. I did expect it to be a little bit higher, but this is all the idea of one mistake can haunt your life. It is also the idea that forgiveness is for mistakes and not for choices. So Michael Douglas is our main character. His name is Dan Gallagher. This review is going to be a little bit more thorough because we just watched this 2 days ago. But Dan Gallagher has the perfect family, has the perfect job. Everyone loves him. He's the good boy. He follows the rules. And Glenn Close, who is Beth, sorry, let me look up her name so I'm not wrong. Alex Forrest, sorry. Beth is Dan Gallagher's wife. So Dan Gallagher is married to this woman named Beth. They have a child named Ellen. They have a dog. They have a good life in New York City. And, Glenn Close, Alex Forrest, comes into the picture to say, I'm going to help you on a project. I'm just hired on to help for this project. The timing lines up just perfectly for temptation, and Beth and Alex go out of town for the weekend. Alex has to work with with Dan on a specific project, and it's just the two of them. It starts raining outside. They have to run into this restaurant. Builds from there. Let me tell you, if you do not have any flirting game, watch this movie. The flirting in this movie is absolutely crazy. So kudos to them. And also, I will say major kudos to the acting in this movie. The acting in this movie is just above and beyond. I was so sucked in like I haven't been in a very long time for a movie. So I loved it. But all of this is kind of timing up to be Dan and Alex having an affair. One night only, one night thing. Then Beth comes back. He's like, oh my God, I missed you so much, blah, blah, blah. Alex then starts to go kind of crazy. She's like, I'm not somebody that you can just screw and leave. Like, that's not how this works. So he's like, I really value our time. I really think that we have a special connection. So my wife's going away again. Let's just chat. So they have a nice day. They go to the park. They have a picnic. And then, of course, they go back to her house and they sleep together again. So, fooled me once, ... After this, she is now, her fangs are sunk in to Dan. And she's like, you have to leave your wife. You have to stay with me. This is amazing. I've never been connected to somebody like this before, blah, blah, blah. He's like, look, I really care about you. And I think that we've had a really great time. But the reality of this becoming something real, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. So she decides to slit her wrists right in front of him. And she's like, you have to help me. You have to stay with me. So the manipulation is already there. This is what Frank was doing from Hellraiser, from now this woman's perspective. And as I said for Hellraiser, we are questioning those gender norms. Here, we're very much doing the same. This is not a scary man stalking a woman. It's a scary woman stalking a man. And it's equally as scary. So she slits her wrists. He kind of sort of nurses her back to health. He's like, all right, now I need you to leave me alone. Doesn't happen, obviously. And all of these things start building up over the course of the next couple of weeks. He finally decides to talk to one of his lawyer friends, and he's like, look, I messed up. I slept with this lady. She's losing her mind. She's obsessed with me. I don't know how to get her away from me or my family without it ruining me or my family. And these people are like, yeah, she didn't do anything. So we can't really, there's nothing we can do either. So another allude to what happens in real life. So she keeps calling the house, hanging up the phone if the wife picks up. She keeps calling his work. He's like, Alex, you gotta leave it alone. Doesn't leave it alone. He then decides to move his family out to the country. He's like, you know what? We need a new change of pace anyway. Alan wants a rabbit. We want to have a whole big farm. Let's go. So they move out to the country, and Alex finds them. Very long story short, she takes this beloved rabbit and decides to boil it, solidifying the crazy lady. So he says, I gotta come clean to my wife. He tells her the truth. She obviously is furious. And then it ends where Alex comes into their home not shortly after that conversation. And she's like, I'm pregnant with your child. I want to keep it. I have always wanted children, and this is going to be my only chance. And he's like, yeah, no, screw that. So that too, he has to tell his wife. She's like, you got to do something about her. You got to get rid of her. So Alex breaks into their country home after she kills this rabbit, and it's the grand finale scene, and spoiler alert, he kills her in the bathtub. That's how this movie ends. So it's a well-wrapped Gift movie. It is also very similar, I would say, to The Gift. That is with the guy from Ozark and the lady from Night House. I don't remember their names, but it has the same feeling. It's like, I appreciate you, and I'm glad for our time. Now I don't know how to get you to leave. So Fatal Attraction for me, I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. This is the first time I ever watched this version of it. There is a TV show version of Fatal Attraction from 2022 on Paramount Plus with Lizzie Kaplan. She's in Castle Rock, but she's also the one that's in Mean Girls. That I love it because I think a story like this really blends well into a TV show. That slow burn of crazy, just building, building, building. And they stay pretty true to not only the movie, but also like the story, but also the sets. Like Alex Forrest's house is this like funky condo, but it has bright white walls, really alluding to the white walls of an insane asylum. And they do the same thing for the TV show. So I would say whatever your frame of reference you prefer, TV or movies, Fatal Attraction is a great, feel satisfied movie. I feel like it's just a great bow. So all in all, February was a pretty different month for movies that I wouldn't necessarily watch on a daily basis. We remember we had Hellraiser, My Bloody Valentine, Audition, and Fatal Attraction, all under that Bloody Valentine's theme. Next month for March, all about March Madness. So either join our Discord or wait until the end of March for the next bunch of reviews. But let me know in the comments, what are some of your favorite crazy lady movies, crazy love movies? And do they fall under this category too? Thanks as always for listening, for watching. Friday, we're going to be doing a new movie review for Scream 7. So stay tuned for that as well.